here too, man. What happens 25 years later? Full house.
Pretty good. All right. Tonight's open. Tonight's town board work session, Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Councilman Lugo, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to take a moment of silence for all those men and women protecting and serving for our freedom each and every day.
Good evening, everyone. First, a little good news. Supervisor Kazari is not here this evening because his daughter had a baby today, Josephine Rose, 6 pounds 11 ounces. So congratulations to the Kazari family. Obviously, they did not get much sleep, but mom, baby, dad, grandparents are all doing well. So we congratulate them on behalf of the town and on behalf of the town. So we will begin. Secondly, the meeting is being videoed on a telephone because our backup system to our camera system is down. Why the backup system would prevent the original system from not working, I'm not sure, but anyway, the backup system is not working, so therefore the original system is not operational. So anyway, we will be streaming the meeting tonight. Thank you, Kevin, for holding the phone up. Tonight's a town board work session. I'm going to ask everybody to review the minutes of the June 18th and July 2nd, 2025 meetings for next meeting. Our first item tonight is Alan of PFK O'Connor Davis, considered the final 2024 audit presentation. Alan, thank you for joining us once again.
There's a slight delay.
Oh boy.
Oh, no, we got it back.
Got it? So just let everybody know that here's the thing. 15, 20 years, PFK O'Connor Davis has been doing the town's audit, and we started when I think it was in March or so.
The audit?
Yeah.
We started with a few weeks early this year. And finished it.
And then they
before it's done in May.
And then they provide a report to the town, which
This is what we actually provide to the town. It's known as the ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive
do you have a
Financial
microphone there?
Yeah, there's a microphone.
Report.
I
Okay.
just have to see.
That report requires a lot of work from the finance department to put together, to the general fund, and all these statistical section of the act which is required to get the certificate, which I think you've gotten 33 years in a row, which is very impressive. I was at a time last night, we had it 27 years, so I think you hold the record.
Best comptroller in the state, that's all.
I would agree with that.
Alan, maybe you can if you can, get to the table with that microphone there, because that might be a little bit better, because even the people in the room can't hear.
Oh, that might be so.
You have to speak very close.
Unless you want to sit here, I can sit over there.
No, that's okay. No, it's fine. Yeah,
Okay, is that better?
yeah, you just have to speak very close to the,
As I was saying, I think this is your 33rd year, consecutive year of receiving the certificate, award in excellence reporting, which is very impressive. So tonight I'm going to go over some synopsis of the results. First we'll take a look at the general fund balance, we'll take a 3-year look back, the general fund budget actual summary.
There's a couple of handouts, excuse me, there's a couple of handouts that everybody wants to.
If we should have the general fund expenditures, the other town funds, the summary of those, and then some closing points. So this is a synopsis of the independent auditor's report. Basically, it says that we completed the audit of the 2024 financial statements of the town of Carmel in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. premium payment relating to the town as of December 31st, 2024. That's the best opinion we can receive. This might be a little small for everybody to see. This is the general fund balance. Several years ago, Gatsby, the County Standards Board, came out with a statement which changed all the categories within the fund balance. And these are the current ones. You have the not spent fund balance, which are prepaid expenditures. For $584,000. You have certain restrictions. One for retirement, $260,000, and then as prior year, and employee benefit liability is up slightly to $1,850,000. We've also committed certain funds, $400,000 for future budgets, $4 million for capital projects, $150,000 for vehicles, and $765,000 for improvements. And then you have your unassigned fund balance, $1,762,000 in encumbrances, and that number increased significantly because most of that increase in the current year are for ARPA projects that are going to occur in 2025, so the money is already committed. And we designated $506,000 in the current year fund balance to balance the 25 budget. And you also have $212,000 put aside for taxation items. The last line is your unassigned fund balance. It's $1,823,000, which is approximately 7.4% of your 2025 budget. The dip from last year was 13%. This is the general fund budget actual summary. Going across left to right, you have the original budget, the final budget, the actual, and then variance with the final budget. The total revenues, the original budget was $72.7 million, the final was $24,800,000, and the actual came in at $24,399,000, which was a shortfall of almost $500,000 on the revenue side. The expenditures, the original budget was $22,805,000. The final budget was increased to $26,378,000, and the actual came in at $23,460,000, which generated a positive budgetary variance of almost $3 million, $2.9 million. And then you have your other financing sources and uses, which are your transfers out. And then you have the net change in the fund balance. And if you look at the middle column, the final budget column, you see that bracketed $2.4 million. After you made your budget adjustments, that's what you anticipated spending. So if all your revenues came in as your final budget was the same for all your expenditures, you would have absorbed $2.5 million in fund balance. But in reality, you had a surplus of a little over $7,000, almost $8,000. So on the budgetary basis, you have a positive variance of $2.5 million. And then if you take the $7,765 and add it to the fund balance at the beginning of the year, the $12,305,000, you end the year with a total fund balance of $12,313,000. Okay. And this is the more detailed budget for the general fund. Numbers we went over, I just wanted to point out some highlights. If we look in the variance column, you'll see number one, the departmental income had a surplus of $512,000, and that was from engineering and inspection fees, which are up about $462,000 in the current year. The use of money in property had a positive variance of $323,000, and that's all from interest income. We invested in higher yearly accounts. The licensing permits had a positive variance of $319,000, and that was due to a lot of large development projects that closed during the year. And lastly, the federal aid has a negative variance of $1.6 billion, but if we look at the final budget column, the $1,138,000, the original budget was increased in anticipation of doing the ARPA projects, which will be done in 2025. general fund expenditure detail. The variance between last year and current in terms of total expenses is not too significant. I think it's about $1 million. The positive variance is almost $3 million, and that includes the transfer out. The general government support variance is almost $2.1 million, and that's basically the appropriated fund balance, $1.3 million that was not utilized. Then you have agriculture and recreation, which had a positive variance of $676,000, and that was from parks. Okay, so overall, the total fund balance, as you saw on the previous page, is $12,213,000. Any question? This is a summary of all the other town funds. Basically, this is a summary of the revenue expenditures. More importantly, if you look at the last one, you see that every fund has a positive fund balance. The highway fund had a shortfall, had a positive variance of $200,000 in operations. All the special districts combined had a positive surplus of $1.9 million. The debt service fund had a shortfall of $297,000. Capital projects had an increase of $7.4 million, and the special purpose fund $964,000. On the bottom of the page is the individual fund balance for all of the combined special district funds. So at the end of the year, all of the funds had positive fund balances. Just to summarize, and then we issued an unmodified opinion to the opinion. As I mentioned earlier, we received the certificate of achievement for excellence in the financial reporting for 33 consecutive years. We maintained a AA1 rating for Moody's. A1 rating is a large at a very strong capacity to meet its financial commitments. In addition, we issued what's known as a management letter to report to those charged with governance. Theoretically, there could be 3 levels of deficiencies: significant deficiencies, material weaknesses, or control deficiencies. We only had 2 or 3 control deficiencies, which are probably repetitive from the prior year. Not material, and we have better. So that's basically it. If there are any questions, that we have to answer them.
Okay, I want to thank you for the presentation tonight. I want to thank the controller and her office for number one, cooperating with you, helping you with the audit, and yet again, for another year in a row, between the decisions that this town board has made and us financially, with our budget and the controller's office, to have the AA1 rating for Moody's is not a small feat, and I'm sure you can tell us. And the reason why we strive for that is because when we borrow money as a town, our interest that we pay on it is based upon our Moody's rating. So we have a very, very favorable interest rate that we pay, close to nothing. So I know many of the other municipalities around us don't have this kind of rating. We work very hard and we take great pride in having this rating. And we make tough decisions throughout the year. Susan can tell you that we've struggled and fought with people over, every dollar counts. And that's why we have this rating. So, anybody else have any other questions for Alan?
I just have one, it's on page 8, so the 927,000 in fees related to recreation activity for housing units, is that the recreational fees that they're doing in-house? Like what is the, page 8, number 4, 927,000 fees related to recreation activities for housing units.
Yeah, the Parkland Trust, the recreation money we took in for Parkland Trust. Is that what we're talking about? Yes.
Okay.
From those large projects that we did last year.
Perfect.
So,
So the housing units that they've done.
Yes. And then I know like the engineering and inspection fees were also related to those large projects. So we did take in a lot of revenue last year because of those large development projects.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
all for that, Mary Ann, thank you.
So, great.
Thank you.
All right, so based upon the audit or presentation, there is a resolution accepting the annual financial report of the town's independent auditor for fiscal year 2024. Councilman Brewer, would you read that, please?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby accepts the comprehensive financial independent audit report of the town's independent auditor, PKF O'Connor Davies, for fiscal year 2024, and hereby directs town clerk Alice Daly to publish all notices required in connection herewith in the official newspapers of the town. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
And seconded by, offered by Councilman Lugo, seconded by the rest of the board.
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
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 Thank you, Supervisor Moore.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Alan. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, number two, Town Controller Mary Ann Maxwell to consider the low sound preventive service award program actuary cost estimates for 2025 through 2027. Hello again.
Right, hello. Okay, so I think it was probably 2 years ago, New York State recently changed legislation in regards to the length of service award program, LoSAP. The change allows for revision to 2 existing benefits to the volunteers in fire protection districts, as well as the ambulance district. The first benefit, the first allows for an increase in the number of maximum years of participation in the system from 40 years to 50 years. Okay, and then the second change to the law allows for a change in the standard payout to be eligible, all eligible members within the program of $20 for each year of firefighting services or ambulance credited to $30. Okay, so that's just an explanation of the 2 changes within this law. So what we had Penflex do is do an actuarial cost estimate to show if we were to adopt these amendments to the plan, what it would cost the town. So I have the 3 different cost estimates here, but I also did this spreadsheet here to kind of summarize it. So you guys have this long spreadsheet here, or? Okay.
Mary, we're not,
Okay. You can't see that, okay.
Mary, we're not required to.
We are not required to do this, no. We are not required to do this. But I'll go over it. I mean, this is, yeah, I thought it was, this is a little bit easier to see. But, so in 2025, the required contribution for Carmel Fire Protection District number 1 is $84,000. We've always budgeted higher. So our budget for 2025 for Maypac Falls, which is Fire 1, is $250,000. So we're well within our budget, and that's why when I come to the town, or come to the board with reports every year, we're always at 101. We're over 100% funded. Okay, and I do that because if for some reason the market crashes, or it's the economy is bad. Like a couple of years ago, the economy was bad, so that did drop. So we always budget to contribute more. So we're budgeting $250,000. The 2026 required contribution is $61,000. Again, we're within the budget. So for Maypac Falls, if we were to adopt this amended plan, we still would be within the budget, even at an accrual rate of $30 and a service credit max of $50. The required contribution would be $115,000. So we would not have to increase the budget to, make that required contribution in 2027. Okay, and then
So, wait a minute, we're just talking about Carmel,
we're
district
talking about
number 1.
right now, Fire Protection District number 1, which is Maypac Falls.
Yeah,
The
so,
required contribution would be $115,000, and
I can't see that.
yeah, and we are within the budget.
And the $115,000 is the $30 service credit on 50 years.
Correct.
So the highest.
Right, that's the highest.
So each participant is $757.
Right, so that does look like a big jump, but because we have the practice of budgeting more than what is required over the years. I've always budgeted, you know.
So we have extra money for that, but
We do.
what about moving forward?
We'll continue that. I mean, we'll continue the 250,000, you know, and.
Marion, so we're always gonna budget 100 plus more every year, just in case, you're saying?
Yes, correct, yes. I'm not gonna drop it to 115. I'm gonna keep it at a 250, so, you know, so we won't have to increase the levy or increase the budget for Mayapack Falls, and then Mayapack is even lower. The required contribution is only 70,000, and we're budgeting 230,000. So that's, again, at the $30 accrual rate and 50-year max. So
70,000.
right.
Okay.
So we are within, you know, like I looked at this I went over this with Enflex. I thought, in first looking at the per participant cost, I was a little concerned that we wouldn't be within the budget, but I went over the numbers with them. And because the town of Carmel has always budgeted higher, we're at a funded ratio of 124,000 for Mayapack, actually for both of them, 134,000 for Mayapack, and 124 for Mayapack Falls. So we are, you know, at the budget, we could afford to do this without raising the levy, without raising the taxes for those two districts. So, you know, I mean, we're, like you said, we're not required to do this, but,
So I guess we'll discuss.
you know, it can be discussed, yeah.
Yeah, we'll discuss it.
Now, this does have to go, yes, this has to go.
No,
so
okay.
Right, Enflex will do a resolution, and then it has to go for a referendum. So, you know, a voter referendum. So, Carmel Ambulance is a little different. They right now are at an entitlement age of 65. So they are asking for a third amendment to their program to go to entitlement age of 60, which is equal to what the fire districts are. They are both at 60. So they're asking for their entitlement age to be dropped to 60 or lowered to 60, as well as the $30 accrual rate and the service credit max of 50. Now, Carmel Ambulance, we budgeted 19,000, and we're within budget now, but if we were to adopt this for Carmel Ambulance, we would have to increase the levy by about 20,000 for that district, for Carmel Ambulance. If we were to go with the 60, lowering the entitlement age to 60, then the required contribution would be 41,000. If we kept it at 65, we would only have to raise the levy about 6,000.
So Mary, if you kept it at, again, I'm sorry, because I can't see the thing from, if you kept it at 65 at the 30,
Yes.
the service credit of 50, the 456, still a budget amount.
We would have to increase the budget,
You'd have to
by
increase,
about,
okay.
by about 10,000, 6,000, sorry. Yeah, by about 6,000. And again, that would only affect the Carmel Ambulance district, you know, but overall, it is increasing our levy.
Yeah.
You know, and I know we don't want to override the cap, you know, so,
So
yeah.
the one that you would not have to increase would be option 1 then?
Option 1, correct.
Option 1 for Carmel ambulance.
Carmel Ambulance, yes.
Okay.
Option 1, which would be 65 and going to, keeping the accrual rate at 20.
20 and 50.
And 50 years, 15, yeah,
Yeah, because we're putting in 19 now and doing 17.
it'll be 17.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you.
okay, so, there is a time frame, obviously, to get this on the ballot. I don't know if it would make the, Greg, you can maybe touch on that. I don't know if it would be a special election or if it would be on the November ballot.
Something could be understood.
You need 90,
Could not.
90 days.
There's the prop to board of election in the United States, yeah, elections. So, but the only other time that I recall a plan being amended, there was a special election in nothing.
option is, you know, like if we were to take a look at this again next year too, you know, and then, you know, it's,
Well, why don't we look at it in this budget time, give consideration if it's
Yeah.
feasible and plausible to even consider
right.
those issues. That's just my thought.
Yeah, no, it has to be, anything in numbers has to be.
Yeah, so
during budget.
If this were to, you know, pass referendum, it would take effect in January of '26, if we were to pass referendum this year. And then, you know, and then we would see the increase in contribution in 2027.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, Chief Anthony Hoffman, consider request to amend prior resolution with regard to safety vests.
Thank you. Good evening, board. Thank you for having me. Before I get started, I'd just like to acknowledge this morning we had a call at Fleming Road School, and shortly after 9 a.m., we got a 911 call from Putnam County 911 of a very nondescript, something bad is going to happen. Very quickly, the school staff determined that something bad was an individual in psychiatric crisis. They took immediate action. There was no danger to any of the students that were there at camp. Detective Shea was there within a minute, and between the school staff, our cops, and the investigators and deputies from the sheriff's office, everyone worked splendidly, and I just want to acknowledge the great work that everyone did individually and working together as a team. So just wanted to get that out there and clear up any sort of questions from the community. There was never any danger to the kids or to the community. So thanks to everyone. Moving on to what I have for you today. As the board is aware, back on March 5th, a resolution was passed to provide for replacement body armor vests for our officers. That included the entire department that was due for replacement. The vests have a 5-year warranty life, and that did not include 3 members of our department that were anticipated to retire. Circumstances have changed with those members. They've decided not to retire, and as such, they're due to have their vest replaced. That's Lieutenant Brown, Sergeant Terrazas, and Sergeant Fox. So my request would be to amend that prior resolution from March 5th in an amount of $7,257.81. That includes the 3 complete body armor packages for those individuals. That's the body armor itself, the panel, the soft panels that look like a normal police vest. Those are the rifle plates, panels. That's what we include now, and the outer carrier. We have, as I mentioned to the board with the initial resolution, we get some funding back through the federal program. The Bureau of Justice Assistance has the late heat vest program. We do get reimbursed somewhat on that. We also get some reimbursement, and we were able to, as I sent an email to the board recently, we were awarded some money from our insurance carrier, Carmel, for those vests. Their particular program is for the external carriers, because it takes the equipment off the belt and the lower back and puts it on the vest and on the shoulders, and as a result, they're anticipating less back injury claims. So that's an investment on their part, and they awarded us for participating in that program. We were anticipating, with those members potentially retiring, we were going to anticipate hiring new officers that would have qualified under a state program for additional funding, but we can't do that. So our funding for these 3 members is going to have to come from some of the grant money that we already have stockpiled. As I say in the memo, it's probably going to come from the discovery grant that we get annually, thankfully, from the district attorney's office. So it would be my recommendation that the board amend that resolution of March 5th to an additional amount of $7,257.81.
If it's okay with the board, then why don't we just amend that resolution now? Right, if it's okay. Or, all right, then what we'll do is, I'll modify this to read, resolve the town board of town of Carmel upon the recommendation of Chief Anthony Hoffman of town of Carmel, hereby authorizes the purchase of 24 point-blank ballistic vests from Federal Houston International, Jacksonville, Florida, at a cost not to exceed $60,000 under your Office of General Services contract. Chief, same contract?
Yeah, it's the same contract, the same vendor.
69427, in accordance with the quotation dated February 12, 2025. Be it further resolved, the town supervisor Mike Pizzeri and your chief of police Anthony Hoffman is hereby authorized to sign any documentation necessary to accept the proposal authorized therein, and be it further resolved, the town controller Mary Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget transfers or modifications required to fund the cost of this organization. I offer this resolution.
Second.
Councilman Bieber.
Yes.
Councilman Prince.
Yes.
Councilman McDonough.
Yes.
And Mr. Basketball.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, so we're good to go? Next up, we have Rich Franzetti for number 4 and 5. First is to consider it and obtain emergency services, Carmel Water District number 2. Good evening, Rich.
Good evening, everyone. So as Frank read, Councilman Party read, this is for emergency repair services on June 2nd. Infomark, the operators of Water District 2, notified the engineering department of a water leak at 111 Fair Street. It was determined an 8-inch main valve was leaking. It's actually supplied water to a hydrant in that area. The test is an invoice from Cook Excavating to make the repair. There are sufficient funds in the operating budget for this expense.
Okay. Thanks, Rich. Any questions? Rich, next is number 5. Consider request to replace of membranes and UV disinfectant bulbs in that micro-filtration plant, Carmel Sewer District number 4.
Thank you. This is a dual request here tonight. I think Greg has prepared a resolution for it, and it's just going to signatory of a contract. So, Infomark, the operators of our Water District 4, have advised the engineering department that the membrane modules and ultraviolet disinfection bulbs and controllers at the microfiltration plant are beyond the serviceable lifespan, and they must be replaced in order to maintain appropriate disinfection standards. The original program, just for the board members who are familiar with it, was completed as a regulatory upgrade and financed through the New York State EFC and by New York City. The facility uses a combination of microfiltration and ultraviolet disinfection bulbs. The New York City DEP has now partnered with the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission, or NIWIPIC, to administer financing of the program. Attached are requests for reimbursement that will need to be approved by NIWIPIC and cost estimates for the replacement of this equipment, along with the contract agreement between the town and NIWIPIC. The agreement identifies that the town will be reimbursed a total of $214,000, as summarized in the table given to you. So there are not sufficient funds in our operating budget for this purchase, and the projects have been approved by New York City DEP and NIWIPIC. The contract now has language in it where the New York City DEP and NIWIPIC has agreed to advance payments to the town once we make the appropriate invoices known to them. This is a sole source for this type of work. We consider these particular items to manufacture sole source. So what I'm asking for is approval to go ahead and purchase the membrane modules and ultraviolet disinfection bulbs, which once we sign that contract, what we need is the approval for the signature of the contract so I can get this ball rolling. This has been going on forever with the New York City DEP in order to get this to this point right now, and I want to be able to strike while the iron is hot and get this thing signed with Greg's resolution, and then be able to move ahead and start ordering this equipment.
The resolution had to purchase the equipment.
So we have a resolution authorizing the purchase of microfiltration ultraviolet equipment and authorizing it to enter into a capital purchase agreement with New York State Department of Environmental Protection and NIWIPIC, Carmel Sewer District 4, wastewater treatment plant. That's what we've done.
Sure. Whereas Infomark LLC, operator for the Carmel Sewer District number 4 wastewater treatment plant, and the town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., have each advised that the town board of the town of Carmel that certain components for the ultraviolet treatment systems within the microfiltration processes of the Carmel Sewer District Number 4 wastewater treatment plants are in need of replacement. And whereas Infomark LLC and the town engineer have each further advised the town board that the acquisition of the aforesaid equipment is exempt from the New York General Municipal Law and town procurement policy as a sole source exception. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 4, hereby accept and adopt the recommendations of the Infomark LLC and the town engineer, and accordingly authorize the acquisition and installation of replacement membrane modules and ultraviolet bulbs at the Carmel Sewer District Number 4 wastewater treatment plant from Filmtech Corporation, Edina, MN, and be it further resolved that the same is hereby authorized at an estimated cost of $266,351.75 in accordance with the proposal dated July 7th, 2025. And be it further resolved that said cost is and subject to reimbursement to Carmel Sewer District Number 4 in the amount estimated at $214,370.80 pursuant to capital upgrade agreement with New York City Department of Environmental Protection and New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 4, hereby authorizes entry into the agreement with New York City Department DEP and NEIWPCC for installation of said equipment. Said agreement to be in general form and content as is on file in the office of the town supervisor. And be further resolved, the town controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effect the aforesaid purchase transitions authorized herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second. Okay, moved by Councilman McDonald, second by Councilman Lugo.
Councilman
Roll
Lugo.
call, please.
Councilman Lugo.
Yes.
Councilman Kearns.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonald.
Yes.
Councilman Supervisor Maloney.
Yes. All right, so that resolution passes.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Next, we have Nina Halmeyer, Director of Parks and Recreation, number 6789. Oh, Nina.
Good evening, board.
Hello there,
How you
Nina.
doing?
So the first matter is consider request for change orders contract to C304.
Yep, so actually there's two portions of this with C304. So there's change order number 2, which is a no-cost change order, which was just to increase the contract time. And then change order number 3 was for the temporary shoring and demolition of the existing columns of the field house. As you are all aware, Carl Stone came and did a presentation on the field house and what we needed to do to temporarily fix that situation prior to them coming in and creating some new drawings for the actual buildings to make it safe. So Marudi is the contractor that is at McDonough right now, doing all the work for us. We have the current contract with him. And for change order number 3, that would include temporary shoring and demolition of the existing columns on the field house. Due to the settlement of the existing porch and columns, the time extension of 31 days to complete this work, which would bring us to a final completion date of August 4th, 2025. The price increase of this change order is $6,984. The contract price would be going up to $138,995.88. In the backup, you will see what was provided from Weston and Sampson. So this, first is the change order number 3, has the breakdown, what the original contract price was, what we're at now, and what we would be looking at, as well as all of the backup from Marudi for this price increase.
And, this money is coming from the department.
So this would be coming from the capital improvement line. We do have some funding left within McDonough Park, some of the different lines that we have there, but it will be covered. We have enough money in the budget to cover this.
With change order number 2, so that's completed.
Yes, so change order number 2 was to increase the time to July 4th. But when they brought this to me, it was also, we were waiting to see what additional price would be for the change order number 3, based off of the resolution that was already passed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we had a resolution that was passed to do the work at Sycamore, the emergency work there, and it also included this temporary shoring. But I wanted to bring in front of you guys the actual cost that it would be prior to actually doing the work.
So, 2 things. One, the 20% of their overhead profit, that's gotta get fixed. That's not happening. So, we'll bring that number down as well. 2, I'm confused by this hammer drill that's listed on the quote. Are we paying for their tools?
I can find out from Weston Sampson.
So, yeah, there's a Makita hammer drill.
Okay.
I need a little more clarification on this.
Okay. So I can get you some more clarification on
That
that.
20%, again, I don't understand. I think I spoke to Rich about this earlier.
Mhm.
It seems it's not just you, it's common change orders can get submitted to the town for 20% overhead profit, which the industry standard is usually 10 or 15%.
Right.
So I don't know where these people are getting off sitting on 20%. So I'm not going to be able to vote yes until they come down on that overhead profit.
Right. I will talk to Carl and have him talk to Rudy.
Yeah, just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The tools.
Of course.
Yeah, we should find some.
Yeah, no, I'll get more information on that. I'm not sure, if they're renting it, I'm not sure if they're buying it.
Sometimes when you have to rent equipment, yeah, it's acceptable, but
Yeah.
this is a hammer drill, they should have this. We shouldn't even have to pay for them to rent a hammer drill, it's standard. We should have that already.
Yeah, I understand. I will get more clarification and send it to the board after Weston Sampson reaches out to them.
Just refresh my memory real quick.
Yeah.
The columns, the existing columns, we weren't demolishing them at first?
We weren't
We were
demolishing.
we were filling in the gaps?
Yes,
Correct?
yes.
Okay,
And
so
then
now
when
you're
they
saying-
came out, when the engineers came out and looked at it, right, it wasn't,
Bad shape.
they weren't really bad shape. So they proposed, they proposed to fix that by shoring them temporarily, and then they're going to provide engineering drawings to fix that whole portion of the deck with the drainage and whatnot, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
Got it.
So I know they're leaving the steel underneath, and then I saw that they're gonna be putting up a temporary column around it.
Yeah, right.
What is going to be, or who's gonna be responsible to do the finishing part of the column?
Well, that would be a part of a separate project that we would have to do, so I'll be talking about that in a few minutes, because we need to figure out that second portion, right? This is just to temporarily fix the
He
problem.
made that known, though.
Yeah,
as well.
to make it
When we
safe.
first discussed it, he made that known that they wouldn't be finishing or filling the final.
Yeah.
This is just.
It's just to fix it so
Foundation.
it's stable, right, at this point, and safe.
No, I get that, but they're putting up something, I'm assuming, from what I was reading, they're putting something, you have the steel column there, the round column, and right now we have that white.
Yes.
round. They're gonna be putting something around the steel column temporary, that's what it said.
Yes.
So I was just wondering, what is gonna be the transition, which we may not know yet?
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Unfortunately. I think it was really just step one, right?
Just make it
Fix to make it safe.
Yep.
And
Okay.
then they'll come back and do
Did they ever figure out what they were going to do with the door?
with the redwood. Yeah, so that's part of the next project as well. But if you haven't been out there, it's starting to look a little bit better. I think that they've been doing a pretty good job up there, and we're almost at the first portion of completion, so we'll get there soon. I'll get the clarification on the overhead and on the tool.
I mean, there's no clarification, just tell them to come down and overhead, and then the tool is really the only thing I need clarification on.
Okay.
Minor submitting for it.
Okay.
Number 7, consider requesting for amendments to Weston and Sampson CM contract C304, C305.
chime in a little bit here if he is available. Weston and Sampson are requesting to amend our current construction management contract for Sycamore and McDonough Park projects to address additional out-of-scope effort related to changed site conditions. They submitted a formal proposal for the amendment concerning construction administration and resident inspection services for contracts C302, C304, and C305. Along with their request, Weston and Sampson have provided a project cost breakdown detailing the current charges by project. This breakdown allows the board to understand the amounts charged thus far and identify where additional services will be required. Their proposal includes a not-to-exceed fee of $39,200 for the out-of-scope work encompassing both the expanded efforts to date and projected remaining work. And then I provided for the board additional documents. It's the Weston and Sampson request for amendment to the CM contract letter, the project breakdown, as well as the email from Carl Stone, who is the senior technical leader from Weston and Sampson.
So Rich, have you had any conversations with them? Because, the original quote was $55,000 for 5 projects. So I'm kind of confused where they got this number from.
Well, the $55,000 was for the 5 projects. It was broken down where $40K went for town hall, which is the AC unit and the roof, and about $15,000 went just for the projects that were, at the time, considered just really oversight of painting and redirecting of doors and windows. It didn't go to the extent that it went to. So what's going on now, right, is, as Nina has explained, there's columns that were added, there's decks that have been replaced, there's asbestos that's been found and overseen. Weston and Sampson is saying, hey, we've already done a bunch of out-of-scope work. We've been to meetings. It was never in their original scope to come to any of the meetings here or to meet with, they met with me, they met with Nina, they met with the supervisor, they met with all 3 of us. So there have been extended meetings to get to where we are right now to figure all this out. And, they're saying, okay, and you want us to now design something what wasn't there, a retaining wall, and to do additional work with regards to these columns and everything else. So I think that number is there. But the original $55K, the bulk of that number was for this, and they haven't put a change order in for the roof because they can horse trade within the numbers right now. Not for the roof, the AC, because they can horse trade within the numbers we have right now with regards to the roof. That's where we're at. So.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you that they should be compensated for the extra work. This $39,000 seems a little inflated to me. Seems a lot.
I mean, they've explained it in here, and they've been doing the work, and they've been doing a lot. Carl lives here in town.
I don't agree with it, is what I'm saying. I understand they explained it, but I don't agree with it.
I don't know that I can't talk about if they don't agree with it. I mean, it is what it is. We have a consulting engineer that came in that has been asked a lot of questions, has been on site multiple times. They deserve to get compensated, and they're asking for the additional work that we've asked them to do as a town and as a recreation leader, as a supervisor, and the town board has asked them to say, hey, fix this thing, right? So they're only saying, hey, here's what it's going to take to get it. That's based on what I understand what's been
Yes.
that $55K, the bulk of that number was for the town hall.
ACs and
RAC, which, as you well know, what happened, right? It's a cluster, right? As some of the things unfortunately going on with Nina's projects are a bit of a cluster, right? Hopefully the roof is not, and we can, not worry about it. Right now, they're not asking for a change order for any of the additional AC work that was done here, right? Because they've been bouncing around just like everybody else was when there was no AC in this building. But they're able to work within the budget that was allocated for the town hall project within that $55K.
This additional $39,200 was to move forward as part of the capital expense.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take it out of the capital improvement line, which we have enough to cover it, but I think that moving forward, right, there's a lot of things that keep popping up here. And, we may be able to move some money from Parkland and Trust, but, these are things that have to get done. We are in the middle of this project, right? And I think would it be the best decision to just leave it temporarily short? And unfortunately, we do need an engineer to look at that and give us actual drawings to fix it. So,
You know, it has been done. I can talk offline, it's just like I'm confused about what has actually been done and paid for, and then what is gonna be completed as we know right now. Like the door to the bathroom, you know, all of this, you know, is the top portion completed, done, and that's included in before the 39,000? Or is all of this not included, is this an additional to the 39,000? And what I'm afraid to happen, and I know we opened up Pandora's box when you go down to Sycamore, you just did, it's an old place. But we can continue, like, I mean, it's like opening up a 100-year-old house, you know, it's gonna be nonstop. So I think what we need to focus on is what needs to be done to be safe, and I just need to understand it a little bit more, like, where are the extra work, and now what's the extra work? And is that gonna be, again, coming back in next month or the month after for another $30,000?
Yeah.
I
So
don't think that's
yes,
the case.
Well,
I know, but I just don't see it like kind of concrete in here. So you know, like
Are you looking at Weston and Sampson's? So they've explained as their 39K. Yeah, as they
Yeah.
explained, as their part of their 39K is, hey, they've done this additional work already, and they're gonna be doing this future work. That's the
right,
39K.
this here is this is the
One,
movie
two,
they've
and
already
three.
done, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And all of this is the additional work that is
Yes.
going to
All part
encompass
of
the
that change.
39,000.
Right, so there's a design in there that was never included in the original scope work. All they were hired to do under that 55K was
39K.
construction management, right? For the various projects that we put out into the ARPA.
did they not design?
No, they didn't, they weren't the design engineers, no.
They didn't put together this, they put together the specs, they don't, I think?
No, that was all done in-house here. That was done with Nina and Dave Farrell, with some oversight by myself. But it was, again, the original project was more, hey, we gotta paint these shingles, we're gonna redo this deck, we're gonna change a couple of windows out. Well, once you scratch the surface, as Councilwoman Donna mentioned, you know, we've opened up the Pandora box. But they did not do the original design. They were only brought on after the fact to help run these projects. Partly the roof project and the AC project is because they, you know, we were hopefully going to have a person here in-house to be able to oversee those projects. You know, a maintenance person. And there was going to be a maintenance person at rec. That didn't happen, right? That's not a thing on anybody, right? So that's where we're at right now. That's why we had to bring on another firm to do that.
Right, but if I look at like number 4 on this, they're definitely coming back for more money.
Yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt, and that's gonna be a huge amount of money. Like, I think we need to talk maybe at a recreation meeting or at a meeting about what these are. You know, I remember when we met up there, we were talking about a little bit of the drainage part, but, you know, number 2, that sounds like it's an all-out structural and drainage investigation at McDonough Park. You know, these are some things that may not need to be done right now. But you guys may have more information than I do. So that's what I'm saying.
If it needs to get done, it's something we put out to bid, we don't have to think necessarily.
Right, and yeah, so I think we just need to talk and really get into the devil's in the detail kind of type thing. Because, you know, especially, like I said, number 4, they're coming back with a huge number.
Which is number 4?
Number 4 is about the ADA.
It's development and technical memorandum detailing findings and presenting alternatives, approaches to addressing them for consideration, including consideration of ADA code issues and compliance requirements. You know, it's going to be huge. And I'm not saying it doesn't have to be done.
But that has to be done.
Yeah, but wouldn't this be, if they're stating this here, right, and they're saying it's not going to exceed this amount?
No, but what they're saying, but what I'm taking this is that they're gonna come to us and say, I just did a survey, and you need to do $300,000 worth of work here to make it ADA.
No, that goes out to bid at
Do you
one time.
understand what I'm saying?
You either put that out to bid or you put that out to an RIP to do the design on it,
I
right?
understand.
All they are is doing a memorandum of findings saying what you need to do.
Right,
That's
but-
all this says.
Right, but My thing is this, and Nina, you're taking one park at a time. That was your guys' original plan.
Yep.
And right now, you still kind of haven't even finished.
Yeah.
Airport.
Airport, yeah, no,
Okay?
absolutely.
So it's almost like you're skipping your plan. And that's kind of where I'm
Which is
gonna be
not your
afraid
fault.
of.
Yeah.
It's not your fault because we're also dealing with ADA up in airport.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this is something, we all know it has to happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen. But right now, you know, a lot of things has to happen in the world, but if you don't have the money for it, it
Yeah.
cannot happen. So that's what I need. I just don't want to put anything out there and say, no, you got to do this, and be pressured to it when you're trying to, you have your plan of what you want to stick to. And anybody can come in and ruin that plan. You have to say, no, you know what? This is going to be done at this time. Right now, we're focusing in on this. Safety, of course, that trumps everything. But some of this, I think, you know, the drainage, does it have to be done? Yes. But there's also a timeline when you've given the users of that park of it. So that's why I'm saying I think there's a lot more to this that we need to talk about instead of saying, yeah, you know what, to me, we're revamping the park. Okay? You're revamping the park. And, you know, and it's even McDonough Park, and I'm saying, you know, we have to find the funding for it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So that's, I just have a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I think we should talk about all this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Maybe even invite Carl, maybe talk to Carl, maybe Carl can explain a little bit better for us to understand.
And I think that's a little bit about what he did mention to me, right? And
Yeah, he said
he's
it.
saying already, he's already over, right? So that's, you know, for us to really continue on, right? We need to figure
Now, is
something out.
there anything on our end, I know we're paying them to be the CM, and like Richard said, BC went down, they were on site a lot more than they should have originally been. Is there anything as a town that we can do to maybe cut down on those site visits so we can kind of ease that burden?
Try to as much as possible, but I'm not an engineer and I can't really make so many, yeah.
Most of those site visits have occurred already, right?
No, I know, I'm
So,
saying
I mean,
going forward.
but we can't do, going forward, I mean, don't call them, right? Don't call them in, and then you'll figure it out, right? I mean, I mean, I'm being mean when I say that, I don't need to be mean, right? But I mean, if you don't want them to come on site, don't call them in.
No, I'm not saying not come on
Right? So-
site, I'm just saying, there's opportunities maybe for us to explore where, you know, you're here, you maybe handles that have them come out here, even contractors, or to do site visits, that's all I'm saying. But explore opportunities, maybe cut back on those.
That was the whole idea of hiring me CM, because I am here, and I don't have enough time to do that, which is why we brought this further. I need a person in my office, we've talked about that. We need a maintenance person, we've talked about that. Those
So
things
going back to
need
this, the maintenance person wouldn't be overseeing these capital projects like that.
he'd be able to do some of the sidewalks and visits that need to be done though on some of these things. So on the grand scheme of things, yeah, I can do it, but it takes away from some of the other work I have to do. So the reason why we hired Western Sampson and went out for an RFP was to have them do that work. So, I mean, that's the key point.
I will reach out to them and talk to them about, at least a little bit about the ADA, right? And we can definitely talk as a group offline in regards to this. But, you know, with that, get a little more clarification on number 4. When they are redoing that portion though, right, of the front of the building, we need to make sure it's ADA accessible. Because we're going to be, we have to do that, right? So I agree with you, and what is this ADA plan that he's talking about? Is it for all the parks? Is it just for McDonough Park? What is it? Because I
think it's just focused on McDonough Park. I don't think he's looking at Omega Parks out, right? He's only been to either McDonough or Signal. Right, so if there's anything, you have to clarify which of those 2 parks it is.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been to the airport, and nobody's asked him to do, or
Right.
I don't know who's
Yeah.
doing. I know somebody was asked to do the
There's
ADA
somebody
stuff
else.
at the airport. I don't even know, right? But I mean, I know that was something that was discussed, right? I don't know about any of the other parks, but he hasn't been asked to do it.
Okay, I'll talk to him and then we can set up a meeting and we'll talk about this prior to the next meeting. Go from there.
That's good you have time.
Thank
He's
you.
going away on vacation. He's going away on Friday, and our next meeting is in August, right?
Yes.
Right, so it might work out. Perfect time.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
You're finished with yours?
No, I don't do it.
And then, last but not least, for Nina, second question. Consider request of change order for community center.
Yep, so this is a consider request for change order number 1 for C305. It's a no-cost change order to increase of contract time. Weston and Sampson have reviewed the proposal submitted by Tundra Contracting Group to extend the contract time for C305 and found it acceptable. This is a no-cost change order, provides for the additional time needed to complete the scope of work due to unforeseen site conditions and the summer camp schedule. This result is an increase of 222 days in the contract time, leading to an end date of December 21st, 2025. Weston and Sampson have provided the following documents, which were attached for the board, change order, and Tundra's request.
Okay. Any questions? Just a limited time to change.
Yep, just because we had summer camp and we had to do the work on the back deck first, and we didn't want to start everything else at summer camp at the beginning. So they're going to start back up as soon as summer camp is over.
Okay, and lastly for Nina, consider request to appoint recreation leader.
Yep, okay. The last item that I wanted to present to you guys is a request to hire another recreation leader for the recreation department. Megan Fleming is one of the candidates who has interviewed for this position. She has a broad background in many different areas of recreation as well as marketing and just all different jobs. I think that she will be a true asset to our department. She is currently on our Recreation Advisory Committee. She also is a coach for MSA. She lives within the town, and I think that with her skills working outside of the private sector, bringing some of that knowledge into recreation, I think that she will be a great fit, and we would be really grateful to have her.
I know she's been very, very positive and active in the Recreation Advisory Council. So kudos to you, Megan, for that. You really participate, which is what we need.
So this would be a full-time recreation leader on the CSEA Group 4 study.
Yes.
Right, and we do have a resolution.
Perfect.
Councilman Kearns, would you like to do that?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby appoints Megan Fleming to the position of recreation leader in the town of Carmel Department of Recreation and Parks on a probationary basis effective July 22nd, 2025, subject to the provisions of the Civil Service Law and Civil Service Rules and Regulations at a CSEA Group 4, Step 1 salary level. For this resolution is read.
Second?
Offered by Councilman Kearns, seconded by Councilman roll call, please.
Councilman Ruda?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Mazzoni?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Effective date is July 22nd.
Yep, July 22nd.
See you at 8:30.
Yep, she will be there. Just in time for camp.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's it.
Last resolution, Town Attorney Greg Fulchetti, consider request to grant easement. Just Greg, can you give us a little background on this?
This is the Gateways project over at the eastern edge of the town. It's the old salt dome parcel that there's multifamily dwellings being constructed by Toll Brothers there. That project originally received approval for about 300 senior units back in 2006. In 2022 or 2023, the applicant came back to amend the site plan approval to provide for a certain ratio of senior housing to also non-age restricted multifamily. During the course of the site plan review, there's a booster station for water, that's located, that's integral to the actual functioning of the system there, that is actually located on a piece of property that's owned by the town that adjoins the parcels. Obviously, there's been a great deal of infrastructure built there, and they're building units and applying for certificates of occupancy, which have not been issued pending an agreement that they're allowed to use the town's property for the sole purpose of the booster station. So we met with Toll's attorneys, who came up with an easement agreement. They are to provide primary non-contributory insurance at all times during the course of the occupancy by the booster station. It's entirely their issue to maintain and repair, construct, maintain, and repair in perpetuity. So in order for them to get COs, building department's requiring that the easement be approved and executed, and there's a permissive referendum period after that. So there's a resolution for your consideration if you want to act on it tonight, and it's a believed to be back. No compensation. You can ask. They do. It's entirely just the way.
They need it, why wouldn't we make them pay?
Certainly a reasonable question.
Right? I mean, if they need it, why are we gonna give it to them for free, let them pay for it? You pay for everything for everyone else, let them pay.
That's fine. You can
Or dish
table the
money to
resolution.
everybody, let someone dish money to us for
Table.
once.
Is that?
The table, you can certainly entertain a motion to table it and then come back.
You can have discussions with, if they say council.
They say no, then we say no. I mean, we hold
Okay,
on.
we can have discussion with their attorney there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's
So
see.
if you want to entertain a motion to table it,
Yeah, I make a motion to table it.
Second.
do all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Got three ayes?
You got three.
Okay, so it's tabled.
All right.
That is, so I go to August 6th for,
Consideration, they can let us know any conversations that we had.
fine?
All right. Thanks, Greg. Okay. Next, public comment on town-related business, for town residents, property owners. Anyone?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Elizabeth Lampersberger. I live in the hamlet of Carmel. And I don't know if this is the right place where I can get an answer.
Okay.
I would just love to know what is happening to the Great Fair Street. It is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, the reports that I read and heard about, it was a matter of straightening and so on and so forth. But what is going on now, they might as well just tear up the whole road.
So.
It is, it's terrible.
So that's a county of Putnam project?
Right.
Correct? Yeah, it's a county road, so you'd have to ask somebody in the county building and the engineering department more
Okay.
specific questions.
So,
Or, yeah,
just to follow up, so actually I was going to announce earlier, or later, I've been in contact with Putnam County Executive, Putnam County Legislator Dan Birmingham. He represents a portion of the hamlet. He's going to be coming to our August 6th town board meeting, and he's going to provide an update on the Fair Street project and other county happenings, and he'll be able to answer any questions that you might have at that meeting. Or you can contact them beforehand.
When
as
is he
well.
going to do this?
he's gonna come here on August 6th at our next town board
August
meeting.
6th?
But in the meantime, if you want to reach out to the county office building, the engineering department, or the county executive's office, you can go, be more than happy.
Yeah, the DPW will
Yeah.
definitely be able to help you. The county
Okay.
DPW time.
They should give you, they can give you more specific answers. It's not our project, or otherwise we would have answers for you.
Well, I hope so.
But you can also reach out to Legislator Birmingham as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to wait till the 6th.
Yeah,
You just-
I would, give him a call. He's very, very nice, very knowledgeable, and he'll be able to, I would suggest reach out
At
to that.
At the county building?
At the county,
You
yeah.
can reach,
If you go on the county's website, his email will be there. I'm sure if you send him an email, he'll reach out to you, or his number might be listed there as well.
Okay.
Or, you know what, Kevin, if you give Kevin your information, maybe Kevin can also reach out to him and ask him to give you a call as well. Okay?
Okay, all right, thank
Trying to make it a
you.
little bit easier for you because you had to sit through all of this.
That's all right.
She comes once in a while.
No, I know, but she had to sit now.
I know, she
Minutes.
enjoys our meetings, right? Anybody else? Okay, announcements? Anyone go ahead?
Shoot. Nina, I picked the Sycamore Beach one. I know there's a concert tomorrow night at Sycamore Park. It is a country band. Nashville Drive. Nashville Pride? Drive, Nashville Drive. Yeah, make it to Drive. I know, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So tomorrow, 7 p.m., Nashville Drive at Sycamore Park. We have some food trucks coming, and it's going to be a great time from 7 to 9. If you like country, bring your cowboy hat and your
They're awesome.
cowboy boots. No, they are. They're really great. They get the crowd going. So it'll be really an awesome concert to come to. We do still have I think we still have 5 or 6 more concerts to go. So every Thursday from 7 to 9. We have movie night next Friday, the 18th. Up at Carmel Park. We will be showing Inside Out too. Oh, Inside Out. So come on out with the family. We're gonna have some food trucks up there too. It's gonna be a great night just to get out, enjoy the park, come and see some of the different things that we have going on at Recreation. And the beach is open daily from 3 to 7 while camp is in session. And on Saturdays and Sundays, we're open from 10 to 7. Come and check it out. It is a hidden gem at Sycamore Park.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I have a couple. So, first we have the
Putnam County 2025 Fair and the 4-H Showcase. That is July 26th and July 27th, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 7, 10 to 5. There's some pretty cool things going on, pony rides, duck derby, entertainment, and all sorts of kid-friendly activities, so hopefully you guys could make it there. And we also have a free rabies vaccine clinic. That is Saturday, July 26th, 2025. That's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that is at the Hubbard Lodge on Route 9 in Cold Spring, New York, 10516. So, yeah.
I have a couple announcements. The Carmel Volunteer Fire Department is hosting their 110th anniversary parade and celebration on July 19th in conjunction with the annual feast hosted by St. James. Lineup is at 4 p.m. Step off is at 6. The Manhattan Volunteer Fire Department is also hosting their annual carnival starting July 24th through 27th. And the 31st through August 2nd from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The parade will be held on July 24th to kick off the celebration. I am hosting my annual fishing clinic on July 20th at the new property that we just purchased from the school on the lake. It's sold out within, signed up.
It was as bad as trying to sign up for
Registration was filled within an hour and a half. So all 50 participants are going to receive a free fishing pole, tackle box, and tackle. We have a waiting list, so if you want to email myself or Kevin, and anyone drops out, we will notify you to be put on the list. And our Great Assemblyman Matt Slater is hosting his annual free veteran luncheon on July 22nd at 11 a.m. at VFW Post 1374 in Carmel at 32 Glenida Avenue in the Hamlet. If you're interested in going, please RSVP by July 18th by contacting his office. That is all I have.
You know, if you don't mind, I just want to say one personal thing. Over this past weekend, my Uncle Jimmy, who's a veteran, they got a banner up. And you guys were there, and I just want to say thank you so much. It really meant so much to him and to Cindy and Terry and Timmy and the family. So thank you. It was really, really nice.
He was funny. His one request is that he wanted it above the Red Mills pub.
Oh,
That's his only
yes,
request.
that's his home, yeah. But thank you.
No problem.
Our pleasure. All right, our next meeting is August 6th. We do not have a meeting next week, so we'll see everybody on August 6th. And we do have one personnel matter to deal with the police chief, so ask for a motion to go to executive session.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor?